Indeed, as we move along, College of Western Idaho, we're having a great time thanks to Campaign Credit Union and Team Mazda Subaru. Joining us now from, I don't know, maybe it's another location of CWI, Mark Browning, Vice President of Communication and Government Relations. Mark, good morning.
Well, good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you today?
I'm living the dream. Are you opening up another location perhaps in, Pocatello or, I mean, you guys are everywhere.
We are everywhere. I am in beautiful Coeur d'Alene, and they do have a very fine college here that our friends here at North Idaho College. But I'm on I've been in Lewiston the last couple of days with the State Board of Education. So finding my way back to the lovely Treasure Valley later this morning.
Yeah, didn't they have a little contract deal with Mr. Harsin there? I think that was one of the topics, right?
That was one of the topics yesterday. Coach Harsin has some amendments to his contract over at Boise State, and I like to point out to folks that our teams at CWI, our football team's undefeated, but of even more note is that we are 5-time national champions in speech and debate. Tell me anybody else who's got 5 national championships in the Treasure Valley Collegiate. Not bad.
Not that I know of.
Yeah, there you go.
But, Mark, I only know what you tell me.
That's why we get along so well, my friend.
We have that great relationship. Let's talk a little bit about the future of CWI. It's growing, it's expanding, but with that there comes challenges and there comes a cost.
And that's really where we find ourselves, Kevin, is we are at a real true crossroads when it comes to education to train folks for careers in the health sciences. So nursing, surgical tech, phlebotomy, medical assist, all the positions that support doctors and surgeons and those specialists. And from where you sit in our academic building there in Nampa, if you look to the south and slightly to the west, you see the brand new St. Al's Hospital in Nampa, and just over the hill that you just can't see, but about a mile and a half as the crow flies, is the brand new St. Luke's Hospital. Those folks, as those two larger entities, and then also West Valley and some of the others in the area, primary health, healthcare is such a demanding field because of the growth of population. But, Kevin, here's one for you. And of all the growth, we all know we're the fastest growing state in the union, and the Treasure Valley is obviously the fastest growing area within the state. But of all the demographics that we look at, 65 and older, that segment of the population is growing at 6 times the rate of all the other demographics. We're getting older, and we're getting older faster. And what do we need for those of us in those demographics? We need health care, and we need access to health care. And, the facilities are getting built, but we need people trained, ready to go to have careers in that. And that's where we find ourselves now, is that we're at a limit. We can't move more people through in any more accelerated rate. We're limited by space and capacity. So, we're trying to address that with a building proposition. And just about 2 years ago, we put a package out to the voters that really addressed our entire strategic look moving forward for the campus. And voters, while they supported it, not to the level that it needs in the state of Idaho. And so we came back and went back to the table and said, okay, what do we need to do? And what we really did, Kevin, is we went out and we talked to the people. And we did a number of listening sessions around the valley. We went out to Kuna, Melvin, Middleton, and Boise, Caldwell, Nampa, Meridian, Eagle. And at every location, they told us, they said, look, we support CWI. We believe in what you're doing, but we can't do it all. So let's pick this off one piece at a time. And what's your number one priority? And that was a really easy answer because it's flat out, it's healthcare. That's where the biggest demand is. That's where the growth for the jobs for our students. And that's really why we're here, is let's connect the student with a career field that they can find satisfaction in and they can provide service back to the community. So it's healthcare. So that's the building proposal that we've got out. As you know, as you drove in this morning, we've got 100 acres there that's wide open. We've got lots of space. We don't have to buy that property. It's ready to go. And so that's what we need to get done.
Mark, when we take a look at the feedback from the community, the cost, obviously, even though we're growing, we have a lot of money. CWI was born in tough times, and the success has been overwhelming. I mean, when CW started, we were in the recession. Now today, the economy's booming. for people that are still wary of their ROI on investment, what would you say to them? I know about the population growing and everything else, but then people are going to go, well, that little extra, however much it could be, could impact, my budget.
Oh, absolutely. And you and I are, both homeowners and taxpayers in the area, and we get it, and we work to balance our home budgets as well. Here's what I would say is, in terms of investment, CWI is the only college in the state of Idaho, public or private, that hasn't raised tuition in the last 3 years. And the net amount hasn't changed in 5 years. We've worked diligently to keep our costs reasonable and controlled. Just by a quick example, and I don't want to name names, but our friends across the border, with a community college over in Ontario, they have an operating budget around $57 million, and they serve 1,800 students. At CWI, we have an operating budget of $65 million, and we're serving over 32,000 students. So talk to me about return and the amount of value that you're getting. We're contributing back well in excess of $102 million back to the local economy each and every year. So right now, homeowners are being assessed at a rate that is lower than when the college first started in the recession. So when the college was voted in 2007, and then the recession hit in 2008, and those first property tax came, the rate was around $14.30. We're now down in the $13.50 range because we've managed our costs, and we've been very prudent about what we've asked of the taxpayers. So that $12 total increase, for an average home between Ada and Canyon County is around $250,000, and you take that first $100,000 off, so your net taxable value is around $150,000. We're asking for $8.42 per 100,000, so that's roughly $12 for the entire year. We'll be very grateful for it. We promise that we will put it to the very best use, and we'll increase the amount of people going into these healthcare fields substantially. We're going to have a need each year going forward for 500 more just registered nurses. So this year, there's about 1,100 nurses that will graduate in the state of Idaho, public, private, everybody. We're already behind because we need 1,600. Next year, we're going to need 21, then 2,400, then on and on and on. And if we can't increase capacity, we're never going to keep pace. I mean, we're not keeping pace now. So that's what I would say to folks is we're making an investment in you and in our community to help provide the very best health care that we can because we need it as a community.
Mark Browning joining us, Vice President of Communications, Government Relations here at College of Western Idaho. A couple final thoughts. For people that are just finding KIDO Talk Radio, so many people are moving into the Treasure Valley. Mark, as you know, CWI has such a unique mission. You can learn to be an auto technician, a physical therapist assistant, now the new LPN program. It really is the college of you. And for people that don't know about CWI, again, catching us in the morning on their way to the new work, learning about the connector, what would you say the importance of giving people that opportunity to get a profession, whether it's in the trades or something else, to really improve their lives?
Kevin, it's really amazing when you think about the invention that is the American Community College. And a community college is a unique American idea. It's a 2-year open access, and we are what we call a comprehensive community college, meaning, as you mentioned, we've got everything from career technical trades and positions all the way through liberal arts and general education that a student can come in and get those courses at an unbelievably affordable rate, and then transfer on if their career path is going to take them in a 4-year path. We are the one-stop shop. If you need short-term training that doesn't necessarily require a certificate or any kind of a degree, and you just need 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it might be, boom, that's the stuff we do. We do a ton of that. It really does cover for everyone and in all ways possible to help get them where they want to be. And that's really the joy for us. It's quite selfish, but my goodness, what a joyful place to be able to work in an environment that connects people and helps them along their way to get where they want to be.
Well, Mark, safe travels home. We appreciate the insight and always appreciate you guys having us here at CWI. We always appreciate the hospitality, sir.
Our pleasure. It's always great to have you out, and thanks very much. Enjoy a beautiful day, and I'll be back home early afternoon.
Take care, sir. Thank you, Mark.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up next, a certain challenge that unfortunately most kids are doing today, and it can be deadly. We'll give you the details next on how you can prevent a tragedy in your home with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning here, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers here. Bert, come on in. You got to come on in, my brother. I was just bragging about you last hour. And I said, when we were talking about our Idaho Insights story, and I said, we'll get your mic on here in a minute, Bert. You just show up, and it's amazing here. And I said, you're always a character. We always love having you. What brings you here this morning?
Well, we were supposed to be calling in at 7:00.
Right.
We were supposed to be calling in at 7:00, and I had at the state board meeting, I had a little run-in with a slab of concrete, and it kind of took me off my game for a while. So I left the state board meeting early, came down and saw a doctor down here, and I thought, well, I'd come over and at least thank you for coming to CWI and broadcasting out of CWI, because we really appreciate all the support you give us and all the help you give us here.
Well, Bert, we appreciate you. Dr. Bert Glandon joining us, president of CWI, and you've spoiled me. I think our first year here at CWI, you were here, and you're so relatable. You love the kids. You love the community. When I grow up, I want to be you, and I'm still working on that. And when we do these shows, people say, oh, if you're, not a part of that particular school. But for CWI, it's everybody's school. It
is. We're the people's college, literally, of the Western Treasure Valley. And we have been so welcome here, and the people have welcomed us in so many different ways. Even other colleges and universities have helped us out, get off the ground. And our first couple of years, obviously with the massive growth that we had in the first couple of years, we couldn't stay ahead of things.
Right.
If it wasn't for the community and the partners stepping up and supporting us, we wouldn't be what we are today if it wasn't for that.
Right. Now, when you talk to folks across the country and they ask you what's going on here, what do you say?
Something amazing. I've been in 4 different states at 5 different community colleges, and I got to tell you, what happens here in the Western Treasure Valley, I think, is really going to end up being a model for the nation in terms of how colleges serve their local communities.
What do you think of the future of CWI? We were talking to Mark Browning moments ago about the issue coming up on the box.
So he actually got up this morning?
No, he called in.
Oh. No, he's up, but he's in Lewiston.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We thanked him for approving Coach Harson's contract.
Oh, you did. Okay, good. All right.
But we take a look at this. So many thousands of people here, 32,000. The Treasure Valley is growing. The state of Idaho is growing. Could we see CWI getting even bigger? And by the way, love the campus here in Nampa. It's great.
Gorgeous.
Plenty of room for growth.
Absolutely. It's not just a matter, when you ask, could we get bigger? We know that right now we're only serving less than 3% of the total population base. And we know that most community colleges in their local communities, even with the universities present, they'll serve 6.5%, 7%. So we're anticipating we'll get it to 65,000, 70,000 students probably in the next 5 years without a whole lot of change in terms of that. The change will be how we serve these students and how we meet the need of the local community, both in career and technical fields as well as in the academic fields. We will ultimately get to 60,000, 70,000 students, and maybe bigger than that because the valley's still growing.
Right.
So we know that that'll occur as well.
I was just talking to Ashley moments ago about the affordability of education, not raising tuition for 5 years.
Yep.
And it's been a while since some of us were paying tuition. But we all remember that cost, that burden, that uncertainty.
Oh, yeah.
So to be able to get college credits that transfer anywhere at an affordable price, immeasurable.
Our Board of Trustees, literally in 2009, when the first group of students started coming through, they were committed to affordable access were the 2 biggest things. Student success, but affordable access for student success. And we have hung hard with that one in terms of making that occur. We know that the student debt in this country is far exceeded the credit card debt now. It's over $1.3, $1.4 trillion in student loan debt. And we're committed to finding ways to working with local business and industry, to working with local sponsors and supporters, to make sure our students come out with minimal debt so that they can start their lives and not be encumbered for the next 10 to 15 years.
And the challenge here, my friend, is you have people that work hard
Yep,
every day,
absolutely.
and they're going to collect Social Security. They might have paid off their mortgage, and they still have student loan debt. That is a nonpartisan issue.
Absolutely.
That is happening today in America.
Absolutely. Again, and I am close to being one of those. Actually, I have to collect Social Security now, but I'm being one of those, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, as a senior in a community, and yes, I'm on a fixed income, but I certainly want to invest in education, because if you want economic development, if you want some real vibrancy in terms of your community, you need to invest in education. And it's not an expense. Too many times we look at it as an expense. If they look at it as an investment, I want high-quality healthcare professionals taking care of me.
No, and Bert, in other states, I was just talking about this moments ago on KIDO Talk Radio, and we see this now with CWI. It's starting to happen even in its early, compared to other universities and community colleges, very young.
Very young, very young.
But you'll have a business come into a state and say, we need these type of workers. Who can we partner with to train these workers? We see it in the South with the auto manufacturers.
Absolutely.
We could see that here, and we probably are in some cases.
We see that here right now. Clark Krause with the VBAP, Boise Valley Economic Group, we are active partners with them on an ongoing basis, and I would say at least once or twice a week. Clark will give me a call and say, Bert, you got 5-10 minutes. We got a company that's looking at this kind of situation. We had one last Tuesday. We had one. I don't know. They wouldn't share the name of the company, but the people that were representing them came in and said, we need this kind of skilled labor. We need it this time frame. Can you produce this, and how quickly could you turn it out? And, of course, a community college, we thrive on that kind of challenge, because it's like, okay, what do you need? When do you need it? Where do you need it? Do you want the training at your site? Do you want it on our side? How do we deliver for you?
Clark does a good job. He's been around a while, and
he has.
That whole Boise Valley from Mountain Home to Ontario, really to Caldwell, it's amazing. There are so many things that most of us don't understand what's going on. Companies just don't end up coming here. They meet with folks like you. They meet with folks like Clark, Bill Connors, and others.
Yeah. You ask what's unique about the Western Treasure Valley. I've been in a lot of different communities, and I have yet to see what's happened here in the valley, where you have some of the major Boise, Meridian, Nampa, Star, Eagle, Caldwell. All of those towns, all of those cities come together in their economic development. They don't fight one another. They work with Clark Krause in the Western Treasure Valley and say, okay, what's the company? What do they look like? Where would it be best suited? Not it's got to be in my turf, but where would it be best suited? And the nice thing about having a community college and university across the valley like that is we say, okay, same thing. We serve all these areas. Where is it best for the company to win? And there's not too many communities that work that collaboratively and cooperatively to make that kind of thing open and friendly and environmental for companies to come in and work with.
We're kind of like the millennials. They're all about cooperation, not competition. So I guess we're ahead of the curve that way.
Okay.
You and I, the Treasure Valley. But that's what it is. They believe in cooperation, not competition.
It is what it is, absolutely. And we do it better than probably anybody else, any other community that I've been in.
Bert, final question for you. How crucial is this measure coming up?
It's crucial. It's a break point for us. If we can't get this health science building up and operating, it will be really devastating to not just students and not just serving students in the valley. It'll be devastating to the local communities. We've got two hospitals one within a mile and the other within a couple miles of us. They are looking at 800-900 employees per hospital, and they're having challenges. They're being cooperative and collaborative too, but they're having challenges. Without this health science building at CWI, it's going to create a real crisis for us to figure out how we deliver in an efficient, effective manner to the local community.
And you work because you love to work.
I wouldn't know what else to do.
Wow. God bless you, sir.
Live the dream.
Live the dream. I hope you feel better, by the way.
I will be feeling much better. Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for coming out and being on our campus. We really appreciate you doing that for us. Thank you very much.
Well, it's like home. It really is.
Good. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Drew. Take care.
You bet.
Traffic and weather together.
Gabbard.
Coming up next, much more. And how about this? Somebody was arrested in Ada County for trying to transport over 100 pounds of pot. Plus, what you can do to make sure your kids don't get involved in another dumb and dangerous online challenge. That and more with me next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Let's go to Eben Brown, Fox News Radio in Miami. Eben, good morning.
Good morning.
So parents listening right now should be concerned about a rare illness that is spreading according to the Center for Disease Control?
Well, yes, there are about 60 some odd confirmed cases and hundreds of other possible cases of something called acute flaccid myelitis, which is very similar to polio. And in fact, it's so similar to polio that it may even be caused by a very similar virus to polio. The officials are not quite sure exactly what is causing it just yet or why it is apparently spreading. But the concern is that, especially with small children, it will cause them to essentially be paralyzed, that they will lose feeling, sensation, and control of their bodies. And if it is not dealt with very quickly, it could be something that is very long-lasting, could take a long time for any type of improvement, and full recovery may not even be possible. So the CDC and health professionals around the nation are asking parents if their child is sick and they don't seem to be getting better and they start complaining of pain or loss of feeling in limbs, to get them to the doctor right away and to have them evaluated, because apparently the quicker that you can begin some kind of treatment for them, the better chances they would have to either not really be fully affected or to recover.
Boy, and it's tough, perhaps, Eben, to determine between an ache and a pain and something serious?
Well, if it begins that way as an ache and a pain, and your child has been ill for some time, they've had fevers, it may be worth bringing the child to the doctor. The health officials are kind of caught in a rock and a hard place here. They don't want people to panic. It's not like something is spreading like wildfire. But there have been a number of cases, and much more so than have been in recent years. And what exactly it is attributed to is unknown. But officials are telling parents, look, you really want to make sure your kids are up and up on their vaccinations, and that they are taking precautions from getting bit by mosquitoes, and that they're practicing good overall hygiene.
Eben, do we know if it's just specific to children, not adults?
It is mostly children. I believe that there are a couple of adult patients out there, but mostly we're talking about children. 90+% of the cases seem to be children, and seem to be young children. This is more likely affecting a 4- and a 5-year-old than it is a 16-year-old.
Boy, that is tough. Young kids aren't the most vocal sometimes. Would you go to the CDC website for more information?
You certainly could. The CDC has started putting out its awareness campaigns this week, so you'll find the information there, too, if you need.
Eben, we appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too.
Eben Brown joining us, Fox News Radio. And remember, when you're listening to Fox News on the radio, you're listening to KIDO Talk Radio here on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, certainly Idaho's first radio station. We so appreciate you listening to us each and every morning. Don't forget Glenn Beck coming up as well. And coming up, we'll have more friends here from College of Western Idaho. Why don't we do this? Why don't we grab Joe? Joe, why don't you come on over here and talk about the wonderful programs here at CWI. Joe Welker joining us, Associate Professor in Accounting. And we all need good accountants these days. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Not bad. So for kids that are interested, or somebody like myself, not so much of a kid, what type of program do you offer here to help us learn more about the numbers? I always say, run the numbers. Well, you know how to run the numbers.
That's right, Kevin. Thanks again for coming out here to CWI. We really appreciate you being out here, and we appreciate the opportunity to talk about our program. So the business program does run the numbers quite a bit.
Right.
So in order to earn your associate's degree in business, you're going to need to take 2 accounting courses and 2 statistics courses. So much of business is going towards big data, and big data needs a lot of jobs, and so we do have these 2 amazing statistics courses that help you run the numbers and make sure everything pencils out.
I've heard a lot about statistics. I don't know if anybody's ever called them amazing, but since you teach them, I guess they are. Everybody talks about statistics. And whether you're going to work for a company or, as we love the entrepreneurs, but it's so important to get that business background. And at College of Western Idaho, you can do it at an affordable rate.
Yes, you can. We have the most affordable rate in the entire state. And more than that, it's not just affordable, it's very, very high quality. We took a couple of extra steps the last few years, and we got accredited with an international association called ACBSP. That's the Accreditation Council for Business Schools and Programs.
Well, why is accreditation important, sir?
Thanks for asking that. Accreditation is really important because it affirms our curriculum. It proves that we are teaching the things that we thought we were. And for us, it's the same curriculum that NNU has. It's the same accreditation that they have. So we're really interested in transferring our students to a 4-year institution, and so we wanted to make sure the quality of our courses, and more than that, the quality of our instructors, met the standards, international standards of this council.
And we take a look at America today, Idaho really. Micron celebrating 40 years, but it is an international world that we live in, and that goes right to the educational training?
It does. So I'm glad that you said educational training, because we prefer in the business program to not only teach in the classroom, but interact really well with the community. So in my introduction to financial accounting course, I have them go interview accounting professionals within the Valley so they can start to build that network. In that stats class that I was talking about too, they work with local businesses to help them run the stats, because you said you hadn't ran a lot of stats, and so we help local businesses run those stats.
Joe, you bring up a point that is often missed, and everybody says, life is about relationships. Yes, we have the numbers, and we have to be competent and everything else, but really having that relationship, and as we were talking about moments ago with Bert, about the relationships between Caldwell and Nampa and CUNA and Meridian and so many others, once you establish those relationships, you don't know what could come of it. Certainly a job, an idea. There's a lot of networking going on, and getting the kids or the not-so-kids to understand that reaching out, helping, and being helped could land them a good job.
That's correct. And I often tell my students, Boise is a small, big town still. And most of the job opportunities that I get or my students get is not really because of a piece of paper on the wall. It's because of the people they meet and how they know them. Building that network is essential. It's very, very important. Not only the quality of degree that they have, I mean, a bunch of people have a very quality degree. It's meeting those people and cultivating those relationships. And I think it's really important, like you said, to have that network.
What would you say to people that might be intimidated about going back to school or even trying school? I can remember many, many years ago, Joe, when I graduated high school, I went into the Army, came out, had a dream of going to college. And when I walked on campus, I go, oh, these college kids, they're going to know I'm not a college kid. And it's a mental game, but for people listening right now at KIDO Talk Radio, what would you say to them that might think that educational training, college in parentheses, is not for them?
That's a great point, and I'm glad that you brought that up, and thank you for your service, by the way. Our paths are not dissimilar. I left 6 days after I graduated high school, went to the Army as well.
I love that delayed entry program, yes.
Delayed entry indeed. I celebrated my graduation and quickly ran away, and then came back as a 23-year-old, not so average student, if you will.
Sure.
And I attended the University of Montana. Very large class sizes, not dissimilar to Boise State. Auditorium size, very, very intimidating. And when I got the opportunity to teach here at CWI, I found that it was much different. The class sizes are smaller. The faculty can actually know the students and make connections. And my favorite thing about working at this college is my students and our students. And we get to interact, and we not only know the student's name, we know things about the student, and it helps us retain those students by making those relationships. It's really important to me, and the not-so-kid coming back,
sure,
they're going to feel a lot more welcome than sitting in a 250-person auditorium when they're sitting in my 25-person accounting class.
By the way, sir, thank you for your service. Let's talk a little bit about class sizes, because and again, this is one of the beauties of being able to do a show. We talk about the news, but obviously, this is an issue that impacts so many people. Affordability, and, everything is marketing these days. You're a business guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, sports teams are great. University of Alabama, their tuition or their enrollment now has gone up a gazillion % because everybody wants to be part of that. And when people have a sports team like Boise State, now you have the online programs and everything else. But the value of being in a classroom with 25 students to an adult versus being in a classroom where there are 300 students and maybe a grad assistant teaching. A very different world on, as you in the business community would say, the return on investment.
Correct. The ROI is much higher. I remember sitting, and I was just visiting with Ashley, our marketing director. I sat in a 250-person psychology class, and a GA was teaching that course. He had a master's degree in psychology, so he was probably well equipped to teach that course, but it lacked interaction. He wasn't a professional in his industry or a professional in the classroom.
Right.
What we bring here at CWI is we all have master's degrees in discipline at minimum, and we have that opportunity in a small setting to interact with each of our students. So the ones that would slip through the cracks in that large auditorium, they're likely to be retained, not only retained but complete, because they made a relationship with an instructor or an advisor or someone here at CWI. They're more likely to complete here at CWI than maybe a larger institution.
Sure. Joe, we appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Kevin, you're very welcome. Thank you, brother.
Is that, was it Go Grizz? Is that what
That
Joe?
is what we say, go Grizz.
I hear that's tough up there with the football, I hear.
It's very well done, yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And blessed to be part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning, joined by Todd Christensen of CapEd Credit Union. How are you?
Doing great. How are you this morning?
Not bad. Busy week for you?
Busy week. Good
Yeah.
week. We were chatting off air that when it's a busy week, it tends to be a shorter week.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, in the Treasure Valley, it seems that that's happening on and on and on with the growth, with the business, with the traffic, all these growing pains going on.
The interstate was great to come out from Meridian here, not a problem. It's a great community. I think our community is tended to its needs and our growth.
Indeed. What do you think about managing growth? Obviously, there are more and more people moving into the Treasure Valley each and every day, week. They're discovering us here on 107.5 FM or 580 AM. What would you say the advantages would be of going to CapEd Credit Union as opposed to the plethora of financial institutions that we have here in the Treasure Valley?
That's a great question, and pausing to think about that a little bit to provide a great answer to those who are new to the community, aren't familiar with CapEd, is we are a local finance institution. We're headquartered here in Meridian, and we have 9 locations here throughout the Treasure Valley, whether it's here in Boise, Nampa, Kuna, other places here in the valley, and a great opportunity to have decisions that are made local. And then the banner that's behind you, that those, how you say that, the theater of the mind.
Yes.
It makes the statement of it's more than banking, it's making a difference. For us at CapEd is, as you associate with us as your financial institution for your variety of financial needs, we're also an entity that's giving back to the community to make sure that that proverbial statement of a rising tide raises all ships, and we want to work together within our community.
Well, and specifically in education, often talked about both pro and con and everything else. And we find that, everybody has an opinion on it, but everybody needs it, whether it's at the high school level, the tech level, the collegiate level. It is the great liberator in our society today.
And it's a great equalizer as well. It is an opportunity to be able to take the steps individually to improve yourself and provide an opportunity for yourself or your family, but also to improve the community. The higher the education, the better the attainment levels, the more productive the community is, the more profitable the community is, and it can address the help of being able to make sure all are being successful.
That is so important, and CapEd has some unique programs not only to help you, but to help students, educators, and schools.
Exactly. And one of the things that we'd like to talk a little bit about this morning, where we're here specifically with CWI, and I know that the president and Mr. Browning have talked about access and affordability. I want to talk a little bit about affordability this morning in a program that we call MESA, or Match Education Savings Account.
Well, let's go with that. And obviously, as a parent, a grandparent, or as the person footing the bill, there's no money tree.
There's no money tree. I guess money does grow on a tree because it is paper, but
right.
There's a long process from the tree to the paper, or to the.
And you can't grow your own.
You can't grow your own. Yeah. But in this case, MESA, again, Match Education Savings Account, it does have some income qualifications, and it's really geared towards those who may be going to college for the first time, or those who are going to college for the first generation of getting into education and understanding its great and importance value. And in this case, individuals who come and create a relationship with CapEd, again, meet those income qualifications, come to CapEd, open up their savings account, do 6 months worth of savings of at least $25, do about 2.5 hours worth of online financial literacy and applied personal finance classes. We then, working with the Northwest Credit Union Foundation, will provide a 3-to-1 match up to $500, meaning if an individual saves $500 over that 6-month period, we'll provide them with a $1,500 match. That then those resources are available to them, to their institution of higher learning, to be able to pursue their education.
That's amazing.
Amazing, a 300% return on your investment.
Right. And you can use it for any educational institution?
Any educational institution. Here at CWI, we have a great relationship, great partnership. We've been on air with President Byrd as well as with Mr. Browning. And they're an amazing team here at CWI, and being able to work with students to help them gain some of that understanding of financial management, financial literacy, money skills, and then use those money skills to be able to leverage it for additional resources to help them with their education.
Todd Christensen joining us from CapEd Credit Union here on the campus of CWI, KIDO Talk Radio. You know, we're going to talk a little bit about financial literacy and why it's important for any age level in a minute. First, traffic and weather together.
Larry Gabbard.
Thank you, Larry. Let's get back to Todd Christensen here and talk a little financial literacy. It's so important. Dave Ramsey talks about this all the time.
Well, Dave Ramsey is on the program here at midday. For us as CapEd, as part of our mission statement of the financial well-being, and that financial well-being is really, again, based in education and understanding how best to utilize your resources. It's often said it's not how much you make, it's what you do with what you make. And we have a program or resources that are available on our website, again, caped.com, and then you can search for It's a Money Theme. And we have a plethora of topics that are covered there, from what is a credit score, how do I improve my credit score, what are the different options as it relates to purchasing or leasing a car, demystifying mortgages, what is it to be a first-time mortgage buyer, what are some of the opportunities if you're looking to refinance. So a wide variety of short videos. They're animated. They're actually very entertaining, but also very informational. And we want to make sure that the community is aware that there are many, many great resources, and CapEd's part of those resources to know how best to utilize your resources in your household, either as an individual or as a family.
And CapEd, along with so many others, cajoling people that, you know, to stay in school, take a chance, get some additional training. It's so important here in Idaho.
Take that next step. What is the next best opportunity for you? It may be that certificate to be able to advance in a career opportunity that you're already pacing towards. It may be that associate's degree. It may be looking at, let me do an associate's degree to improve my personal income that takes me to a better job, that then I want to go and get my bachelor's degree or undergraduate degree. And then over a period of time, let me secure that master's degree. I don't think any individual can never have enough education. And that's something that we really want individuals to understand, that it is a journey of lifelong learning, whether you're here at an institution here or seeking it in your place of employment or through the many opportunities that are available online.
CapEd Credit Union, Todd Christensen, thank you.
Always a pleasure to be here with you.
You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.